Very cool. Well, my goal is to be able to answer questions in the chat. I'm going to try this one more time to try to bring up the chat, and it's not coming up. So, Becky, I'm going to let you go ahead and interrupt me if anybody has anything specific in the chat. I'm Tom Gosche. I'm a business strategist. I work for an accounting firm, and I'm glad you're here for this QuickBooks presentation on how to handle. I saw Brian. Brian flinched. Brian thought I was serious. So I'm kidding. It's not about accounting. It's not about anything like that. We're going to talk about personal branding. We're going to talk about growing your business using a sales force that you don't have to pay. And the nice thing about all of this is that I feel like I'm preaching to the choir. You guys all get this. You're an ACA. You've already figured out that networking is important, that finding people to refer business to and to get referrals from is the best way to do business. What I'm hoping is that maybe there's one little tidbit or one little technique or one little strategy that you hadn't thought of before, or maybe you thought of before, maybe it worked for you before, and then all of a sudden you stopped doing it. I know that's happened to me just a couple of times. So what I have done in the past 20 years is develop a personal branding system that I've been teaching to people to really look at themselves from the inside out, to put their personality into their sales. We always talk about people buying from people that they know, like, and trust. And the only way you can know, like, and trust is when you really get to know them, really get to know what it is that they love to do outside of work, why they got into what they're doing work-wise, and really working on getting to know themselves, getting to know other people. So I think back to when we were kids and we're sitting by the tree thinking about what life is going to be like when we grow up. We're going to go to nice, out to dinner, nice places, drives in your really cool car in the country, going to the games. And of course, I said, guys, don't call at between 9 and 10 o'clock because I don't know how to turn off the phone, but it's a commercial call. So it just rings twice, and it'll probably ring 100 times and then never ring for the rest of the day. So yes, we are one of those families that has the last of the landline. So when we talk about people with a landline, they're talking about us. Anyway, talking about sitting by the tree right behind your scooter. You're the CEO in an office, making telephone calls, buying nice clothes, all these great things that you think of when you're a kid. And then what happens is you become an adult and you finally get to that point and you start thinking back of all the things you still want to go do, toy store, ride your scooter, just leaning back on a tree and relaxing, playing your favorite sport, getting a Happy Meal or getting some type of, not fancy food. What I'm going to challenge everybody here as they're putting together their personal brand and developing their sales team with you being the sales manager is that perfect combination of the two. You can put your personality in. You can, have both, best of both worlds, have a great business and a great family. You can do all of these different things. And all you got to do really is just sit down and think about who you are, what you do, and what you have to offer. So when I talk about branding, everyone is a brand. Whether you like it or not, as soon as you got on the call, if somebody knew you, they had a brand and a characteristic in mind. So let me just get some feedback. This is where I'm going to need some help in the chat is, what do you think of when you see McDonald's? And Kathy, you have your own thoughts, but what do you think of when you see McDonald's? I'm unsharing so I can look in the chat. Kevin is feverishly typing. I know that. I see Brian feverishly typing. And nothing. Would you like fries with that? Fast service, consistency, very good. Somebody's a businessman. Cheap food. Yeah. And actually, sometimes it doesn't seem like it. I know I haven't been there for a while, and I'm just like, a Big Mac is how much? 2 for $6 is a deal? All right. Happy Meals, of course. Exactly. So, what about, Happy Meals as kids, Egg McMuffin, hamburgers, fast foods. Really the key, I think Chris hit the nail on the head. It's consistency. It's recognized arches, definitely. So it's the consistency. It's, what you're going to get when you go to McDonald's with everything around it. It gives you that warm feeling of something that whether you like the food or not. If you're in the middle of nowhere and you're hungry, you know what you're going to get for the most part. There's always one person on every call that just says, I wouldn't know a McDonald's hamburger if somebody threw it at me. And it makes me want to throw it at them. So that's not true. I would never do that. So let's go back to this. What do you think of when you see and think about Nike? Again, put it in the chat. Nike. Just do it, definitely. That's their tagline. The swoosh, their logo. Working out, definitely. Aspirational or inspirational, either one. Player branding, sports, definitely. Playing soccer, depends on what sport your kids or whatever you're in. Becky and Andrea is our little soccer nuts. Athletics, definitely. So Nike obviously has everything to do with athletics. It has everything to do with the swoosh. They, putting, uniforms on players. Shoes is actually what they're most known for. And I think it's the last thing I said. And I don't think anybody actually said shoes. Nobody said shoes. Nike shoes. That's the main thing, guys. And dry fit clothes, everything else came up besides that. It's one of the things that happened in, I believe, in the early 2000s is that Sara Lee Corporation bought Nike, I believe. And nobody knows that, because what do you think of when you think of Sara Lee? You don't have to put it in the chat. I think we all think of cakes and things like that, cheesecake and so on. You didn't want the two together. So even though it was a similar profit center, they weren't put in the same brand. Kind of like around the same time, Sears did a home life furniture store. They tried to just do furniture in the smaller stores, and it didn't work out. So they closed the home life furniture store. But when they were advertising the closings and getting great deals on furniture, nowhere in the ad did it say Sears, because they didn't want people to think that Sears was going out of business, which, funny how times change, but that's part of the interesting part of this. So everything is brand. So what is it that, come on. You don't have to put this in the chat, but what do people, when they think of when they see you? On a networking call like this, it might be your job, what it is that you do for a living. It might be your personality or lack thereof. Any of those different things. I know that when I get on a call, I try to be the center of attention. Unless somebody else is the center of attention, then you might see me kind of lean back and not say too much. It's important that people recognize you as being professional. They recognize you with your personality, because that is the reason why most people will do business with you. They think of those qualities and characteristics that you have. And when you apply for a job, or you're meeting with a prospect or meeting with a potential referral partner, those are the qualities and characteristics you're sharing with each other. You know enough about their business, you know enough about accounting, about commercial real estate, about banking to know good things about that. But when you're meeting one-on-one with people, you're trying to get to know them and them personally. And a lot of those questions come to rise about their family and their kids and where they live and where they grew up and different things like that. And it's those first and lasting impressions that you have on those meetings that really resonate with what it is that you're trying to sell, which is basically yourself or whatever product or service it is. So I talk about branding. I'm going to take one sip here. Ice cold water on an ice cold day, only in Chicago. Anyway, what I developed was a kind of a 5-step process, a 5 portion process of branding. I took the word brand, divided it up 5 ways, B-R-A-N-D. First one is B, your beliefs, your talents, knowledge, skills, who it is that you think you are. And we're going to talk about this in a little bit more depth. R is representation, or representing yourself and those beliefs. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. I've got one slide I'm just going to breeze over. It's basically marketing. You guys get all that. And at the end, I'll have some ideas on how you can get your brand out there a little bit better. A is autonomy, or the control of your brand. How many ways are we being pulled to try different things and to offer different things and be everything to everybody. If they've got a checkbook, I got a product or service to sell. When you narrow down your business and you focus on what it is that you're great at, that's when you get the business for what you're great at. And then you can either still do some of that stuff, just not promote it, or you're just so busy doing what you love. Now you're networking with your competitors and you're being able to refer that business out to someone else. And I'll talk about that as well. Network is the end part. Again, preaching to the choir, but hopefully I give you a tip or technique that you might enjoy. And then here's the big difference, is the differentiating factor. Not only how you differentiate from your competition, which is important, but how do you differentiate yourself from 12 people on a Zoom call, or 30 people in a conference room networking over lunch, or 90 to 100 people on a Zoom call, everybody doing their 30-second commercial? And how do you differentiate yourself? And we'll talk about that as well. But first, what I'd like to do is talk about beliefs. And hold on one second. I put in the chat, and I will do it again, a worksheet that you can open up and print and take a look at. Salesforce handout ACA 2021. You're welcome to print, open it, print it. If you don't want to, print it, you can just take notes. What I'd like to do is kind of have you write this stuff down. It's going to be fairly quick. Oh, hold on. Got to share the screen first. Hit that button there. Go to there. Then go to my PowerPoint. Then start up the PowerPoint again. And here we go. Everyone can see the word beliefs at the top, right? Nodding is the international. Is it international? Anyway, first one of your beliefs is, come on. I'm going to stop one more time. It's not doing what I want it to do. Give me 1 second. Technical difficulties. There it is. Look at me. I'm so proud of myself. When you do this in pre-production, Becky and I were on here at 7 o'clock in the morning, getting this presentation going. I did the whole thing for her. In rehearsal, it went a lot smoother than it's going right now. But I do want to touch on this. What talents do you have? A talent is something that you're good at, but you don't remember learning. You don't remember sitting down and learning that particular thing that you're good at. Write down a couple of things. I have, cooking, athletic, you're a good speller all of a sudden, and you never really learned how to do that kind of stuff. What knowledge do you have? Do you have a degree in something? Do you take lots of courses and keep up with your with whatever it is that you do with courses, and have you learned a lot from what it is that you do? Write down that knowledge. What skills do you have? Skills are knowledge applied. So if you've got a marketing degree and you're now an accountant, which a friend of mine actually is, not me, that is skills. He never became a marketer. He's doing accounting. So that's not one of those things. What he became skilled at is accounting and doing tax returns and things like that. He seemed to like that a lot better. And then the last one is, what general characteristics do you have? And I'm sorry, it's the second to last one. It's just the last one. You're going to write down a little bit more about your characteristics. Are you the funny one? Are you the straight-laced one? Are you the one people rely on as the rock? Not the rock, like Chris looking like the rock, but the rock, meaning somebody that people can depend on. Now, the last one of this beliefs is, what do you value most? Do you value money and power, family values? Do you value your friendships with people? What is it that you value? So my quick story on this is I developed this in about 2001, 2002. My oldest, who's 23 now, he's going to be a physical therapist. He was, I'd say, 3 or 4 years old. I thought he had a pretty good talent for taking a wiffle ball, um, throwing it up in the air, and hitting it. And the reason why he was talented at that is because he didn't learn that from me, because I still can't do it. But he was very talented at doing, athletic things. He became knowledgeable by learning more and more about baseball, more about the stats, more about different techniques on pitching and catching and throwing and everything like that. He became skillful at it. And I'd love to say that he's a professional baseball player, but what he did is he took a lot of that stuff the way he learned and did that in his medical biology type of stuff. He was naturally good at that stuff and worked at it. And once he got to grad school and had to take anatomy, it was way different than when he took it, junior year of college. They wanted every little, muscle they needed to know. So he worked really hard to become very skillful at knowing all those different things. So that's kind of the evolution of it. And if you've written down some things, this is the basis of your brand. This is the basis of your corporate brand. If you ever sat down and figured out what your company is all about, it would probably fits very well together with each other. So I stopped sharing. I got the chat. Are there any questions before I get into the representation? It's a quickie on that one. No. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your attention. I understand how difficult sometimes it is to be on a Zoom and you've got 1,000 things going on. But pretty much everybody is either faking it really good or just really giving me your attention. I really appreciate that. It's fun. So this is a lot on this slide. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but how do you represent those beliefs? Focusing on providing value to others, not only forgetting for yourself. There's a few of us on the call here that know Linda McCabe. When I first did this presentation almost 20 years ago, this slide said, focus on providing value to others, not getting for yourself. And she objected to that, and we had a nice argument. She said, why not think about also getting stuff for me? I'm networking, I'm in business, I'm doing this stuff. Yeah, of course I'm going to provide value to others, but I do want to get something back in return. So I added in the only and underlined it, and I call it the Linda McCabe rule, where you're providing value to others and you are giving back to yourself. You're doing it. Giver's gain is a philosophy many of us have learned, but it does mean that what goes around comes around. And I like that idea. I like that concept that I might not get anything back directly from Kathy for giving her a referral or two, but because I gave to Kathy, Chris is going to pass me referrals because he sees that I'm a giver. He knows I'm good at whatever I do. And Chris is hoping that somehow he gets some business. And maybe Kathy has more referrals for Chris. And that's the karma world where we're able to, it all kind of evens out. That's kind of the idea here. The next one is identifying activities to match your special interests and skills. It can be on the personal side, the business side. It turns out I liked coaching youth sports. It was a great way for me to hang out with my kids. But when I did that, other kids' parents wanted to know what I did for a living. And I was able to start B&I chapters and sell products and services to those families because of my brand of helping out. They thought, hey, if this guy's volunteering this much time here, imagine if he's getting paid for what he does. So that was a nice addition to my business. And then just some activities. You can start a nonprofit if you so choose. You can put together newsletters and blogs. And the ACA, Becky is putting together awesome presentations like this. And I bet there's a presentation for each one of these that you can go on and learn in depth more. These are just ideas that if you go, you know what, I did a newsletter back 5 years ago, and every time I would send it out, I would get some people inquiring about it. I should probably do that again. That actually happened to me, and all of a sudden I'm doing newsletters on a consistent basis. So that's representing. I'm going to jump into autonomy, which is also just one slide. Just basically maintaining control of your brand. Everyone's getting pulled in different directions. Those of you that do social media, you're getting pulled in different directions. There's new social medias out there, out all the time. Where should you focus? Where should you, these are all things that you can say, okay, there's a new social media thing called, what's that called? Yip Yap? No, the one where they do the videos. Kathy's got it. She's got TikTok, yik yak. See, there I am. TikTok. All right. Should I put my business on there? What are the, positive and or negative implications of that? Well, positive is if I do a pretty funny video, it could go viral and everybody will want to see it. The negative is, well, if everybody sees it and it's only kids that are on there and none of them need accounting services yet, it's really not worth it for me to do all that. Maybe in my spare time just to have fun, but not business-wise. Can I map a pathway? That's what I was kind of doing with TikTok here. What does this new idea mean to me in my business? This is another presentation that can be done on how to choose things that to do using positive and negative long and short-term implications. It's called the strategy matrix. And that's another presentation where, when you're trying to decide, all right, I do this for a living and somebody's asking me, hey, this is a great add-on to this. You can make more money. Well, if I focus my time over here, I'm neglecting over here, I'm going to miss out and I'm not going to be focused on what I need to do. So that's kind of what autonomy is. I'll stop sharing for just 1 second, take a drink of water and ask if anybody has any questions before we get into the networking.
Tom, I got a question around the newsletter. I know obviously I get your newsletter. What kind of results do you get from that?
My newsletter is less about bringing in new prospects, more about just staying in touch with everybody that's in my database. So I consider a good newsletter when I get a couple of replies that say, hey, this is great information, thank you. Or one time, a couple of times last year, thanks for this newsletter, good information. I know I owe you a phone call, let's talk again. And that's when it became more about business. It's not going to anybody that's new. It's going to people that are in my database. And the hardest part that I had was trying to figure out what to fill it with. Yeah. And once I was actually at an ACA business development team meeting, somebody suggested that I just review my blogs that no one reads anyway, each month. And that way you don't have to have new content. You're just showing people your blogs. And that worked out great. It's less work. I can do it pretty much the night before. It's a template that I can plug in. And it just reminds people each month, hey, I'm here. I'm Tom Gosche. I'm your business strategist. Contact me for your accounting needs.
Okay. So that was my next question. How long does that take on average for you to put together?
Not very long. It's going to, the first one's going to be in February for this year. I'm going to have a slight redesign, so it's going to take a little bit longer. But if you notice, there's a picture on one side. It's got each date there, and then the matching ideas with resources interview. All I'm doing is taking screenshots of all that stuff, inserting it, and if it takes me an hour, it's probably because I'm listening to music and jamming at the same time. So that's about it.
Thank you.
Sure. That's all we got. All right. I'm going to go back to sharing the screen and I'm going to talk about networking. So, oh, I got to stop sharing the screen. So put your thoughts in the chat. Why do you network? There are no wrong answers unless Kathy types them. Build relationships, excellent answer. To help people, another great one. Meet people, help others. Come on, Kathy, keep typing. I was just kidding. No, they're all great answers. There's no, making connection, having resources for clients and prospects outside your area of expertise. Excellent, all great. Relationship development, perfect. That is exactly why you want to network. And again, preaching to the choir here, ACA people are awesome. My answers are associating with other strong professionals. You're it. So brands that add value to yours, brands that add visibility to yours. Those are great reasons why you network. So I'm going to jump into what I call the networking pool. It's sort of a strategy that I've used over the years of utilizing networking, kind of filling the funnel, but in this case, it's filling the pool. There's networking wide, and then there's networking deep. When you're networking wide, there's lots and lots of contacts, a little bit, maybe small dollar amount per client. When you're networking deep, there are less clients, but more relationship, more value per client. So when you're networking wide, what I'm talking about is those vast networks, those large networks of chambers of commerce or large 100-person, networking arenas or luncheons or things like that. Places where you say, hi, my name is, and you are, and we're just talking and chatting and shaking hands and exchanging cards and things like that. And then as you're networking deeper, you're getting into networking groups. I ran BNI for many years. Great networking group, one business category per profession with the sole purpose of exchanging referrals. There are now hundreds of different networking groups out there. I don't consider ACA similar to BNI because ACA doesn't meet weekly. They still meet regularly. It's still a networking group, but in some of the different meetings, you can have competitors, and still be able to get to know each other. And I'll get to that in a second here. So networking groups, very important. Professional organizations. I kind of put ACA in the networking and professional organization because obviously you're here. Professional organization, you want to learn from businesses. You want to learn from people. You want to network in your own industry. One of the best professional organizations that I'm in is called the Association of Accounting Marketers. No CPAs in it. We all work for accounting firms and we bounce ideas off of each other on how we can market our accounting firms better. Some of my best ideas, the things that people say, wow, that is such a great idea, I stole from Porty Brown. I stole from the people in those organizations. There's so much business for all the accountants out there that we can, network and share ideas like that. Other professional organizations like engaging speakers. If you like to speak for a living and you want to get out there and speak a little bit more, those are the types of organizations. Or within your industry, there's many organizations, HR and banking. I know we have an accountant down here. They've got organizations where they get around and count things together. I'm just teasing you, Susan. And then the last part are the power teams. Power teams are people that work together. They work with the same type of clients that you work with. This is where I lose most of you guys because you all get this. You know who your power team is. If you're, selling commercial real estate, it's a commercial lender, it's a commercial rehabber, and all those things that are around it. ACA, it has business development teams that are part of your power teams. They all work with the same type of clients that you work with, and you try to figure out ways to pass referrals. But when I first put this together 20 some odd years ago, it started out as kind of a networking ladder to success. But the goal isn't to just work in your power teams. The idea is to do laps in the pool and to be part of a large networking organization, a networking group that has no competitors so that you can develop relationships. Part of your professional organization and develop the power teams. How many of you have had power team friends in business that suddenly changed industries and you got lots of referrals for them? You gave them lots of referrals. Now you can't because they're gone. Well, if you are networking in the chambers and the networking groups, you have somebody that's on deck that you kind of like, but you already had this guy. Now all of a sudden you can bring this person into the fold and you don't skip a beat. So that's why you want to try to do laps in the pool. These power partners, they usually evolve from meeting weekly from the networking. The reason I always like meeting weekly in the BNI sense is that that's where you build your trust, understanding, cooperation, commitment, synergy. The way that you act at a networking event, specifically one that meets every week, are you on time to a meeting that's on your calendar every week at the same time, same location every week? If you can get there every week on time, you're going to get to a client on time, and I'm going to feel good about referring you. When you stand up each week and you introduce yourself, are you putting in fun new stories of how you help somebody, new innovative ways that you're different from your competition? Are you listening to others so that you can see if there's some cooperation there, some synergy that you can work together? And I do know that when you meet weekly, sometimes there are people you just don't want to network with. And that's another reason why you want to do laps in the pool. Well, I don't specifically like this person in my networking group. I don't trust them. I don't understand what it is that they do. There's really not much of a commitment there because they're always late or they miss every other meeting. But luckily, I'm also part of this group. I can refer them. They're not going to miss one referral to somebody if I can refer everybody else. So that's what's kind of nice. If you can identify the power partnerships, they're the ones that work with the same type of clients. You can't buy commercial real estate from just one person. You need a team of people around you in order to get that accomplished. You can't buy your computers and set up your office with just one person. You need somebody that sells computers and office furniture and all that other stuff. You can't have employees and deal with just one person. You're going to need an HR consultant that can help you and get health insurance and benefits and all these other different things. Now, if you're selling wine, you really don't need anybody else because I drink alone. Yeah, with nobody else, but I don't know if he's selling. Is that wine, Van, that you're selling, or is that other stuff?
We are a distillery, so we are making whiskey and bourbon.
I just love you even more now because I don't even like wine that much. But whiskey and bourbon, there you might want to share that alone if that's how you feel. But even then, I would assume you have tours and things like that. You probably want to network with others in the area so that they can, refer people from out of town to take you through the tours and tastings and things like that. I would assume, right, man?
That is correct, yes.
So you're still, working with other people, and definitely in the social media world, you are also, you might not be the perfect person to also do a website, to also, provide printed materials and things like that. You're all working together. So I think you kind of get what I'm talking about. It looks like I made Kevin Pickett mad, or he's got a bio break he's going on. Anyway, I can, any way I can tease him, it works for me. So there's the similar client universes, referring people to each other, and then entering into joint marketing campaigns. I've seen accountants work with financial advisors at this time of year to send 50 to 100 letters on behalf of the other person. Just so you know, IRAs are really important at this time, and you might want to give this person a call and get one set up. And then the financial advisor says, during this time of season, you might be looking at getting your taxes done. I highly recommend this person. And you're only sending 50 letters or so, but if you get 10 telephone calls because their trusted advisor told them to call you, those are nice ways of being able to do some business. technology. I love it. All right, identifying these power partners. Again, I think you guys get this, but one of the things I like to look at is who are your competitors? There are things that you might not want to do that your competitor will love you for because they're expert at it. Our accounting firm doesn't really handle large clients. So I actually network with another, from the AAM group that I'm in, where if I happen to run into somebody and they're looking for this huge corporate tax return, we don't have the person power to do it. We've actually gotten referrals from her. Then they don't really handle small clients very well. And that's, as you probably know, that's all I really am looking for are those brand new, so she refers back to me. So who are your competitors? Can you collaborate with them? The example I have is you design, they print. This leads into some very powerful partnerships. So don't discount your competitors. Let's see what time I have. Oh, here's another thing. How many of you would like to divorce or get rid of one of your clients that just is a huge pain in your gulu, and they take up all your time, and then they pay you late, or you charge them this much, but you're actually spending a lot more time? I bet one of your competitors would love that client. Maybe their personalities go better together. So that's a good thing too, is if you do network with your competitors, maybe that one client is a better fit. And guess what? They probably have a client that they don't get along with, and they'll start to refer you. And I've seen that happen, especially in the accounting world, but also in some of the marketing and other areas. Best power partners are people that are well connected. You don't want to be the only one referring out. Your brand should be similar, meaning that you understand each other a little bit more. So these are just great ways to develop your sales team, which is your power partners, and getting the word out, about your business. I've got this here, which is qualities to identify. People that are active listeners, people that know that they're responsible for their own success. They respond well to feedback. Van, is there any bourbon in that coffee, or you wait until at least the afternoon before you sip?
It is a job hazard, but no, it's coffee that gets me going in the morning.
All right. And not Irish coffee, just coffee.
Oh, no, just coffee.
All right, good. Phew. Because I'd have to join you, and that would make for the last 20 minutes of this pretty sloppy. I'll tell you that. Anyway, I was talking about responding well to feedback. How many of you have gotten a bad referral? Raise your hand. Bad referral. You've gotten a bad referral. Whose fault is it that you got the bad referral? Andrea has said it's hers. It is your fault that you get a bad referral. And here's why. It's okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. Kevin did have in the chat that he had to jump off. He says great stuff. I think he's talking about me, but he might also be talking about Van. Anyway, it's your job to make sure that one bad referral doesn't turn into multiple bad referrals. So if I keep sending Kathy these people that, mention that they might want to buy a building, or they did, and Kathy's calling up these people, and man, Tom just keeps giving my name out, and it's annoying. And then suddenly Kathy doesn't want my referrals. And when I finally have a good one, she's not going to treat it the right way. Oh, it's probably another one of those Toms. But if she came to me and said, look, thanks for thinking of me. However, here's what could be better next time. Here's a question that you can ask that would qualify or disqualify this person from being introduced to me. And those are some of the things that you need to develop and start to talk about. What are some of the things, the questions that will qualify it even more. So before I stop sharing the screen, does anybody have any questions? Get into the home stretch here. Very good. And I got to sip some water. Yes, it's water, Kathy. Don't look at me like that. All right. Um, some core values in the partnership. Let's see if I got that there. So obviously you're going to be trusting each other. If it's a retail situation or a situation where you see people in person, um, I'm sorry, getting to know each other, understanding each other's business to the point where I don't know the answer to that. Now you definitely need to talk to Chris about this loan. Or I'm not, I can help you. I can help you. I know enough about this. Uh-oh, I think I better get Andrea involved here because it's an HR situation. You know enough to be dangerous, but you need the expertise of your partner to, bring the referral home. That you're committed and there's synergy there. So I think the horse is dead. I've kind of really, figured out that these are the types of free salespeople that you want to have. People that will go and really get to know you. Let's talk about one more thing before we leverage all this is joint marketing. I mentioned it briefly. I use the example of an accounting firm and a financial advisor that do some business together. Endorsement letters, writing the letter on behalf of someone else with their contact information. You don't have to send a mass mailing. It can be 10 and maybe 2 people will call, but that's 2 more than you had before. And you only spent the money on 10 letters. Displaying literature, if it's a situation where people are coming in and seeing people. So if Susan is doing tax returns and she networks with a couple of different financial advisors, having their business cards available out, referring if she needs to refer 3 people, having her technique of, well, there's this person, but you really need to talk to this person. This person has really helped a lot of my clients, and he or she is a great person and really knowledgeable. You're giving the 3 names, but you're really referring that one that you said nice things about. You can have resource pages on your website that send people out. I stopped doing that because it was hard to keep up. So what I end up doing is I'll have one-on-one Zoom calls and interview people. I call it 10 minutes with Tom. And every month or so, I post one that basically just interviews one of my power partners about their business. And then I post it. And a whole 4 or 5 people might actually watch that video. And then I also use that in my newsletter when that comes up. Nominating for awards. One of our clients is in the Des Plaines Chamber. The Des Plaines Chamber was looking for award nominations for certain things. I thought that they did a really neat thing. So I put together a neat little package of nominating them for an award. So what's nice about it is that I get a little promo because I nominated them, but they are getting the actual award. And then introductions. I think you guys all understand the concepts of introductions. And I'm going to talk really briefly in a little bit about introductions. So what I do want to talk about really quick is how you leverage this networking. On this side is all of this stuff. Can you see the cursor going up and down? I'm talking about on the right side of the screen, the business network. That is that swimming pool of success, of networking success. There's the BNIs, the ACAs. There's also another group called SIL that meets on Thursdays at lunchtime, a large group of people. It's called the Strategic Introduction League, another good networking situation. Leveraging your power teams and your chambers, whether it's the Schaumburg Business Association or your local chamber, leveraging that with your personal network, because this is your personal brand. Any of the volunteering that you do, the youth involvement, Rotary clubs. If you recall, in the beginning, I put in my little commercial in the chat, and I also put in a link to the Rotary Club's Classic being hosted by Natalie Martinez. And for $25, you get the opportunity to watch Natalie Martinez host our Classic, give to a great charity. And I'm working very hard on that. And my wife always says, why do you do so much with Rotary? You're always on a Rotary call, which is not true. It just seems like she always walks in on those. Because I get business from Rotary. Not only do I enjoy the service work, but I work with business professionals in my area, and we always tend to refer business to each other because we work so closely together. So being able to leverage all of that in your on your brand, which is right here, is what really the key is making sure that, you know, the stuff that you do personal wise and business wise can mesh together when it's possible. So stay connected. What I would do is stay involved with ACA. They've got a neat little way of kind of being in touch, meeting regularly as a group, sending emails and interest to them so that we're getting each other's newsletters, meeting for one-to-ones or one-on-ones. Zoom has made it so much easier to send out a Calendly link and meet for a half an hour. And if you don't know what Calendly is, or you've got, to me, that has been, I was telling Becky before this, I started doing a Calendly link in my emails and follow-ups on LinkedIn. Hey, I'm up for meeting. If you're up for it, click on this link. They get to see my openings and then compare it to their calendar. They click on a link. I get the invitation. It goes directly into my calendar, and I have a half-hour meeting with somebody. I had over 100 meetings since September of last year, one-on-one, a half hour at a time. During that time, I got 6 new clients. Now, not all directly from those meetings, but they did come from some referrals and some things like that. So meeting for one-on-ones, getting to know each other, having a set of questions ready to go so that when the meeting gets boring, you know, hey, what's the typical situation people are in when they realize they need your help? We've all had those boring meetings where you can't grab any information out. Be ready with some questions. Finding out what it is that you do. So here's how you differentiate. Tell people what you're looking for. Present yourself well. 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 10-minute presentations. When you do these things, let me do something. Let me show you what I have here. Come on. You know, the world would be a lot better if it just, you know, voice command, you have the clicker, but then you can also say, no, I didn't mean to do that. And then it just stops everything. So here's my little cheat sheet that I've been using on these Zoom calls. It's a Word document. And if you notice, it's all highlighted because I put this into the chat. So in some places you can put the whole thing in the chat. Some places they just want your name and contact information. So I do this. Sometimes somebody will talk about their blog and I'll copy and paste that into the chat. All of this is at my ready in case they say, Tom, introduce yourself next. Believe it or not, I get nervous and sometimes become tongue-tied. I know you won't believe it, but it does happen. So I can automatically look over to the side and go, oh, yeah, GLM, we work with business owners on their basic back office. And at least 3 out of all of you are tired of hearing my little spiel, this 3 lines that I say every darn time I get to introduce myself. I say these 3 lines in some way, in some fashion. And now that it's embedded in your memory, that's the reason why you want to, you know, refer me business, because you know that I work with business owners on my basic back office, blah, 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 blah. And my son is upstairs having breakfast going, oh my God, he's doing that basic back office thing again. Anyway, it's right there for you. Get to that. How about it? No, I didn't want beliefs. I'm actually pretty good at technology, believe it or not. And I am just not destroying it today. I'm not doing very well today, making this all work. All right. Already did that. What do you do? Differentiate. What are you looking for? So that's the present yourself well. 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, depending on how much time you have. That's when you tell your story. You've got your 3 lines that you say all the time and your family's tired of hearing it. Your friends are tired of hearing it. Now you throw in a story because you got 30 seconds. Well, a good story for me is somebody who had QuickBooks loaded on their computer. All she did was print checks off of it, realized that she could do more with it, came to me, and we helped her out. That just added a few seconds. Now I got my 30 seconds. and we're good. Now I got a minute. Well, let me tell you about another story, or let me tell you a longer story that's a little bit more involved, but gets your mind back to, all right, this is the situation that they were in, how I helped them, and now they're better off for it. This is also the learning new things and reinforcing knowledge. Giving them this story background, that's what they remember. Oh, this is the same situation that so-and-so was in. Or 3 months down the road, you hear somebody that is just using QuickBooks to print checks. You go, wait a second, somebody, maybe that good-looking guy, Tom, said that you can use QuickBooks for way more than that. You need to talk to Tom, whatever it happens to be. And then here's the deal. Evaluate everything that you're trying to do. If you got friends on the call, hey, Kathy, I'm going to be changing things up today. Let me know if you notice this. And then take that feedback. Tom, it really didn't add or subtract anything. It was just a filler. Good information to know, whatever it is. And then the last one here is doing what you say you're going to do. That really is the key. If you want people to refer you business and they've asked you to do something by a due date and you don't get it done, it's not going to happen. You're not going to develop that relationship. If you're going to be in an ACA group and you're going to sign up for something and then not show up, you're looking bad to the person that ran that and to the group that's there, because you're not doing what you say you're going to do. That really is a huge key. So here's what it comes down to is consistency. At least 3 of you, 4 of you have heard my message. Same message all the time. Those same 3 lines. You're tired of hearing them. I'm tired of saying them. But each time I say it, I have a new invigorated energy, because it's not the first time that Van heard it or Brian heard it. I'm sorry. It is the first time that Van or Brian heard it. And they got to see it and feel it with the same type of intensity that Andrea had the first time she heard it and went, wow, what a great 3 lines. I don't think she actually said that, but I can dream. You can use those same 3 lines on the back of your business card, all your marketing materials, your website, your online media. Those 3 lines are who you are and what you do. And if that's consistently everywhere, the key is reinforcing your message, not reintroducing yourself each time. So I'm not reintroducing myself. I'm reinforcing that message. You're hearing it again and again and again. And then the more people see your consistent message, the more real estate you take up in your mind, in their minds. So it's really interesting because I didn't even get to taglines. And Chris, are you ready? So a tagline is just over and above all of this other stuff. Tagline just is something that's a little bit memorable. It's kind of interesting, and just bear with me one more second. So I ran into, in a networking event, a member of my original BNI chapter from 1997. I haven't seen her in 20 years. There was a guy in our group. Each week he would stand up and say, my name is Dick Freund, and I wish you would talk dirty to me. I sell janitorial cleaning supplies and janitorial supplies. Ha, ha, ha. Every day for a year, everybody giggled at that. 23 years later, we're on a Zoom call, and I said, how about Dick Freund? She's like, yeah, talk dirty to me. Now that's a memory hook. That's something you remember. But what I'm going to leave you with is, if you know of somebody that, it doesn't have to be on the accounting side. I'd be happy to help someone just kind of hone down their commercial for these things. Help them come up with those 3 lines that will help them transform their business. Tell them about me. I'm Tom Gosche, business strategist with GLM, steering direction, matching ideas with resources. Chris. Oh, there you go. Very cool. Now you guys can all unmute. Any questions? We got 3 minutes.
How long did you guys practice that?
Every ACA call.
Who throws it to you, Chris? Who do you have in the wings to throw that to you so you can catch it?
I don't know what you're talking about. I throw it that hard. He's just across Schaumburg. He's just across Schaumburg.
Uh-huh.
Does anybody have any questions, Brian, Van? I don't really, Brian, I've seen you before on these calls. And any questions that come up after all of this? Did everybody get the handout?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. All right. Well, I encourage you to attend these presentations every chance you can. Tell your business development teams, tell your luncheons, tell your coffee people that these are awesome. I've learned a lot of great things from Kevin did a LinkedIn thing. My thing here, I just hope you guys all get to take advantage of these while we can.
Awesome. Tom, thank you so much for sharing with us. And again, thank you to everybody for taking some time this morning, and hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And as always, if you know other folks that would have an interest in sharing, please do reach out.
Good.